now. Hello, friends, and welcome to Leadership Happy Hour. I'm pretty stoked today because I've got Laurie Guest, CSP, that's Certified Speaking Professional, with me today. And she's going to share some stuff with us about guest encounters, her little kind of part of the business that she has and the different things that she does. But what I like about Laurie is that, honestly, she has got one of the best business minds that I've ever encountered. I say something and she's like, well, how are you going to use that? And her mind starts, the gears start going, and she's already thinking about, she's found ways to monetize it 6 different ways and how to organize it. And I'm still like, thinking about something else. But she's like 10 feet ahead of me. So it's really exciting for me to be here with her today. And also she lives in DeKalb, which is the home of Northern Illinois University, so where I went to school. So go Huskies. I'm happy to have you here on the show. Welcome to Leadership Happy Hour. Cheers to you.
And cheers to you, too. I broke out my Chardonnay for you.
Yay. So if you could share with our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into the crux of everything.
Sure. So I am a professional speaker and trainer, and my favorite thing to talk about is customer service and staff development. So I am all over how do we get desired results out of people. Sometimes that's leaders we're trying to get desired results out of, and other times it's the people who are following the leaders. So I always like to say I am really excited about staffmanship as much as I am excited about leadership. They're not the same thing.
Staffmanship. Can you give me a broader definition of what that means?
Yeah, so leadership is teaching people how to lead, right? Mm-hmm. Would you say that's a pretty broad definition of leadership?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Staffmanship is teaching people how to follow.
Okay, all right.
And we need that, and we need leaders that know how to teach staffmanship, because I feel like a lot of leaders that I've met in the, too many years that I've been an adult, right, out in the business world. I meet a lot of leaders that their leadership style is to shake the finger and say, here's the rules, here's the policies, here's how it's supposed to be done. They tell you what to do, but they don't necessarily give you the tools to be the good staff person on the other end who says, I understand, I will do.
Right.
So I think there's a balance of the two things. One is the telling, but the other is getting the desired results out of the people that you're trying to lead.
I concur with that. Traditionally, we do a really poor job of setting people up to be leaders. We usually will hire somebody to be, they might be the best technical expert, but then we put them in a position where they're just completely ill-prepared to be in charge of people. And I think that an important part of what you're, of staffmanship, as you call it, or followership, somebody else might, call it, is that I don't think you can be a great leader unless you know how to follow. I just do not. I think that you need to know how to follow, because we all have a boss someplace. And
that's right.
If you know how to follow, in my opinion, you have a better idea of, what it takes to then be in charge and lead people. And you can
absolutely
be empathetic in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, when we were talking previously about, today's session, you sent me to your website, Guest Encounters. Tell me a little bit about Guest Encounters.
Well, the interesting way that Guest Encounters came about was about 10 or 11 years ago, and I was invited to come in and do a customer service training program for 50 business owners, and they were all local, and I felt that there was so much diversity in the crowd in terms of what they offered and what they did. We had everything from service to retail. It was all over the board, similar to a chamber meeting, how there's so many different groups represented. Right. And I really felt like if I taught them customer service 101, tell me if you recognize this look. They'd sit in their chairs and lean back like this and go, man, I know this stuff. Customer service 101. Tell us something we don't know. How many times have you seen that look, right? And I was really nervous about it.
I've never seen that look.
Yeah, oh, okay. Well, I have. Maybe I'm way simpler than you in my presentation. I don't know. But I was already worried about it before I got there because it was in my own area, my own hometown, so to speak.
Right.
If I get on a plane and you don't love me, but if I have to do it in front of people I see all the time, the stakes are higher.
Jesus couldn't go back to Nazareth.
And I was thinking to myself, what can I do that would be different? What can I do for the people who cross their arms and say, tell us something we don't know? Mm-hmm. And it dawned on me that knowing and doing are two different things.
Right.
And that if I would secret shop each of these places of business, go in pretending to be a customer, a client, a patient, or a patron, whatever it is that they serve, if it was possible for the organization that they have, and find out what happened. So because I had enough notice and I lived locally, I did business or tried to with all 50 of the organizations.
Wow.
And I was so excited. So when I get there, I learned a valuable lesson. You praise in public, you criticize in private.
Right.
So after they were gathered, I did about 5 or 6 minutes of customer service 101. And when they got that look on their face, this is my favorite part. Actually, of all the speaking I've done over 20 years, this was my favorite moment ever. I stopped, completely stepped out of the speaker voice. And I went, you know what? I'm going to stop for a second. I'm getting the feeling that you leaders, you all know this stuff. Is this like too simple for you? Like this, like it's just some really, and they're like, yeah. And this one guy in the front row goes, you got that right, honey. I goes, honey, right? And I go, well, good. Well, I'm glad you know all of this because I've tried to do business with all of you in the last 2 weeks. And I'm going to show you in a second who in the room rocked it and who didn't. And that same guy goes, oh, crap. Like this, although he didn't say crap. He used a much, much stronger vocabulary. And I spent the rest of the time showing them who in the room won the gold, silver, and bronze award for doing it the best. And then I gave them sealed envelopes with their confidential guest encounter report card inside so that they would find out what happened. The stories I learned on those days, I'm still retelling the stories, good and bad, of what happened when I shopped those places. And it was such a success for me. I knew I was onto something. So that's how that division of my company was born. And we do probably 5 or 6 of those types of events a year. You can't do them all the time. It's too exhausting. But we can do 5 or 6 a year and really get some interesting data.
Well, what's cool is that, not only is it a cool idea, but you can use your last name and it looks really good.
It took me a long time to find a man I wanted to marry and who wanted to marry me.
Like I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that because I couldn't do like Lutz encounters. And I think if I did it like with my first name and last name, so it would be like Klutz encounters. And
now maybe
if it were my mom and because her name's Sandy, and that would be like that would just be crazy.
That would be crazy. Yeah, exactly. So it took me a long time to find the right guy, and he likes me well enough to let me use his name, so all is well. Every other check goes into his savings account, right?
Anytime there's a guest encounter, he's like, I need my percentage.
Exactly. I need my royalty fees, my naming rights.
So, what's the whole process then? If somebody contacts you, it's just like,
sure.
Who can you do one of these? Because I know you got different levels. I mean, you've got, an online one, you've got a phone one, you've got a sales thing that you do. So,
right. Well, the packages, I'm a big fan of packages, as you might already know about me, but I believe that we price things in different levels for different people because not everybody can afford the on-site encounter. And we do these nationwide. We don't just do them locally. And so the answer is people look at the pricing and decide what level they want. Sometimes we just shop them online, meaning we go onto their website and pretend to be whatever their end user is. So where do we get tripped up? What doesn't work? What happens when we try and put in an encounter form, like an inquiry, or maybe even place an order? What's the entire process feel like online? The next level up, which is actually one of my favorites, is the phone encounter. And you can learn a lot by secret shopping people by phone. And so most of my clients pick that if they live way outside our area. And then the in-person one, that's a real hoot. You get to go in pretending to be whoever they need you to be. So I have to look for shoppers. I hire people to go in, especially if the client's already met me or the staff has already met me. I can't personally be the shopper. I'd like to be, but I can't always. Right. And so I always tell, especially women, I always say for every salon secret shop I give you to go and have a massage or a pedicure, you have to remember that I asked you to do that the first time I call with my gynecology client. Like, none of my shoppers are just dying to go to the gyne.
That's hilarious.
It's true. Think about that for a second. I'll give you the brewery tour, but you got to be willing to go for the prostate exam.
You got to exactly.
That's the way it is, Chip.
Proctologist, or, your mammogram,
Exactly.
All that stuff. That's fun.
It's a hoot.
So
anyway, back to the process. I got you distracted with the word gynecology. Sorry about that.
True.
Have a sip. You'll get past it.
True. I'm clear now. Please continue.
Yes. And so anyway, we go in, and here's the important part of this is that I don't have a scientifically proven evaluation tool. There's about 400 companies in our country that do secret shopping, and they have this many of them have a huge scientific process behind them. Mine's not. Mine is simple as, this is how this shopper that I send in to experience you, this is how he or she felt. This is what they liked. This is what they didn't like. Here's what they'd like to see differently. And that means that it is subject to whoever I happen to send in to you. And my defense to this is, and that's exactly what your real customers will be like. So a real person who shops you, Chip, and decides they want to hire you for a booking, they don't need scientific studies behind this. They have to be able to tell me, hey, did he answer his phone promptly? Did he return the call? Did he answer the questions we had? Did we feel good about the experience? Whatever we figure out ahead of time, what objectives are you looking for? And then I give you a report both verbally and in writing on what happened. Sometimes it's painful to hear the results, but you pay for the honesty.
Wow. That's that would be painful to hear. Sometimes yes. We live in a little bubble. We like to believe what we like to believe, but hearing the straight. But that's the only way you get better. That's the only way you get better is.
But you'll find this interesting. Out of the years I've been doing this, when it's a big group, the people who get the bronze, silver, or gold award almost always are the ones who come up and say, we'd like you to come in and share this with our staff. Because I'm talking to the leaders and the owners. The winners want you to come in and talk to their staff. The people who open their confidential envelopes and read big areas where they need improvement, I thought that's who I would hear from, right? If you have shortcomings,
right,
let's pay somebody to help you with the shortcomings. It doesn't work that way. I have never, and I mean never, been hired by the people who score on the bottom half of the grid.
And that's interesting, because I would think the same thing, but I guess that's why they're on the bottom of the grid.
Right. So that strategic mind you're talking about, I've been thinking moving forward, maybe everybody gets an award. Like, there is no bad news. If it's like, boy, Chip, gold award. I mean, everybody should do business with you. I have two little things that could make it better, but you are rocking it. And then, you know what I mean? You'd go, I want to hear more of that. I'm going to pay you to tell me more of that. Isn't that crazy?
Smart. That is brilliant. That's thinking strategically.
I wouldn't do that though, but I'm just saying I could.
You could. I would. So let's go back to staffmanship. Yes. What you were talking about, earlier. The art of following. So when I know that your guest encounters dovetails in with that, because obviously people want to have better service. You give them certain tools, but what are some of the core things that you share with leaders on helping their people be better staff members?
Well, two big things come to mind. The first one is that if we don't give them the parameters, if we don't give them the policies and procedures, the guidelines, whatever you want to call it, if we don't tell them how we want them to function, they will make up their own rules. And they'll make up their own rules based on how they were raised, where else they worked, what they think is the right answer today. And those aren't always going to be on target. So I feel like we have to create the rules first. And then here's the big one. If I could only give one piece of advice in the short time we're together, if you're my boss and we're a group of 20 and we've decided what the rules are, I need you to back me up on the rules when I try to enforce them with our customers. So I do a lot of work in healthcare, and we're going to use that as an example. We're going to say you're an eye doctor, and your rule is that people need to pay 50% down to order their glasses, and they have to pay the balance before we release the eyewear to them. Very typical in that field. Makes sense. Let's not let you walk out with the eyewear until you've paid us in full. Seems fair, don't you think?
Yep.
That's our rule. You've trained me to do that. You've taught me how to say it. I'm all prepared to do it. And then Agnes, one of your favorite longtime patients who probably goes to church with you, she comes in and she pays her 50% deposit, no problem. But when it's time for pickup, she gives me a reason why she can't pay. So I do the words to enforce the rule as you've asked me to do. And what does she want to do? She wants to talk to you. She goes around me and says, well, could I just talk to Chippy for a minute? Because she knew you when you were Chippy or something. She's got that inside little thing.
That's how everybody knows me.
Exactly. And so she gets to see you, and then she pulls her trump card, whatever that is, and then you bring her out to me. I mean, you can totally see this playing out over and over in our businesses. You bring her out to me, and you say, Laurie, we're going to go ahead and let Agnes have her eyewear today, and she's just going to pay me when she can. And then she gives me that little smile behind your back that says, gotcha. And I give her the eyewear because you told me to. And I tell doctors all the time, leaders, when I have them in the room, you can do this if you want. It's your business. But you are going to own her for the rest of her days. Because anytime I try and enforce one of the rules she doesn't like, she's going to go around me. So I am here to protect you, protect us with the rules that are in place. And I don't know why so many times I see leaders bend on that. I think because it's easier to be the nice guy.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely easier to be the nice guy, especially if you know somebody when they knew you when you were chippy.
Yeah,
that's what's going to come back and bite you every time.
So here's what I say to staff. So that's the leadership side. To staff, what I'll train them to say is, after you've established that rule, the example I just gave you, the very first time that Dr. Lutz comes out and breaks that rule in front of the patient.
Hold on just for a minute. I like the way that sounds, Dr. Lutz.
Oh, sorry.
I like the way that sounds.
Yeah, this is all fiction, baby, all fiction. But you revel in it if you want. That's fine. And I'll pretend I'm Jennifer Aniston, and we'll both be fine. And so when you are in front of the patient, I want the staff to smile and say, "I'd be happy to." We're not going to have this conversation in front of the patient. I'm going to give Agnes her eyewear. I'm going to smile. Everything's going to be fine. Now, when the patients are gone, I'm going to come back to you, and I train staff to say it just like this, not sarcastically, not rude, just very matter of fact. And this is what it sounds like. Dr. Lutz, I wanted to clarify that we do still have the policy 50% down, 50% before we release the eyewear, correct? And you're going to nod and say yes. Then here's the golden sentence. When I'm faced with that situation again, like we had today with Agnes, how would you like me to handle it? Now I'm going to stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer that question. So let's role play that just a bit. What would you say if you were in the role of Dr. Lutz and I said, how would you like me to handle this the next time I'm faced with an Agnes situation? What would you like me to do?
Tell Agnes I'm not home.
I'll be happy to do that, right? And so most of the time, usually they say, I need you to enforce the rule. I need you to stay with the rule. I need you to, they never say, let's just go ahead and let everybody leave with the glasses. They would never do that. They're going to say some form of, I need you to keep enforcing the rule. And then I teach staff to come back with, I am happy to do that, but I need you to back me up when I do, because I'm afraid that every time Agnes needs something now, she's going to go directly to you, and I won't be able to do the job you hired me to do. So that's my really quick example of leadership versus staffmanship. I have to train the staff to handle that.
What I like about that is that it really helps facilitate the whole two-way communication between leaders and followers. Because a lot of times we put the whole onus on the leader. Well, you need to communicate. Well, a lot of times there needs to be that two-way communication. Mm-hmm. We're all fallible. The leader is just as human as the follower. Mm-hmm. And when you've got say Agnes, who was my Sunday school teacher, coming in, remembers when I obviously am going to be human in that. I'm not going to be in that leader role. I'm going to be in that she was my teacher in Sunday school role, and it's a different mindset. And so that whole process that you just explained really helps open up that two-way communication. So then the next time, everything's going to go a little bit smoother. And that's key. But
it doesn't do me any favors as a staff person to come into you, because a lot of times I work with small to medium business where it's almost like a family. There's only 10 of us. We know each other really, really well. And what I see a lot of times is that staff person comes into you and says, so what's the deal on you letting Agnes leave with the glasses? And it starts a confrontational conversation. And then all of a sudden you're wondering, don't I know my place? You own the place. You're the doctor. I'm the staff person. And now I'm talking to you like we're equals, or like I have partial ownership. That's not the way to be a good staffer either.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to start confrontation. Or as Jack Nicholson said to Michael Keaton in the first Batman, you never rub another man's rhubarb. You just don't do that. There's...
I didn't know we were going to quote movies. That would be fun.
I make sense of my life.
Are you ready? I'm going to give you a movie quote. You see if you can guess what movie it came from. That would be a fun. Okay, ready? You got to let him go, sir. You got to let him go. You know what that's from?
No.
Top Gun.
Oh,
Maverick and Bruce in the water, holding on to him. Oh, I'm just crying. I've seen that movie 21 times. I cry every time.
That's so funny. I just swear. My kids, I have so many VHS movies, and I refuse to throw them away. And so
old man.
Well, that's exactly. My kids found an old VHS player and gave it to me for my birthday. So I set it up downstairs with a big screen TV, and that's what I've been doing. So like this week, I've rewatched Fiddler on the Roof, Music Man, West Side Story, the original Odd Couple. Because I threw my back out, and I've been like, pretty static, at the last few days. But
you can get VHS tapes so darn cheap now. You get half price.
And I saw Top Gun. That's what I was reading. That is like Top Gun. I bought for 25 cents, and I was like, oh man.
I mean, Cruise in his underwear for $0.25. I mean, what more can you want?
I would probably want more, but I'm picky like that.
Yeah. You want them a little taller, do you?
Yeah, it is sad.
I digress.
I make sense of my life through television and movies. So
there's a tweetable.
It's the truth.
I make sense of my life through the movies.
Usually if there's some people, like the other day when Gene Wilder passed away.
Yeah.
I had written an article a few years ago called "What Would Willy Wonka Do?" And I just, I took his, is a formula for success, and I put it to like what you want in a successful vision for our company.
That's cool.
And so I, resurfaced that.
I was going to say, you dusted that puppy off, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I'm completely opportunistic like that. So, but when I reposted it, I put, some people get all life's answers from the Godfather trilogy. I get all mine from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Because, pretty much everything you need is all in that movie right there. Like my kids, when they were growing up, I would tell them, I want this, I want that. And I would tell them, I would say, hey, when a loaf of bread looks like a feast, we've got no business smoking tobacco. Joe said that's, Charlie, if it's been a while since you've seen the movie, I then might, fall deaf on it.
No, it hasn't been that long. That's funny.
So that would be my, and when my daughter would start, I want this, then I would break out in the Veruca Salt song. I want the world. I want the whole world. I want to wrap it all up in my pocket with my barley chocolate. So I would just go off on like that.
Oh, that poor girl.
Yeah. She's got a good sense of humor.
Oh, that's funny.
She has me to thank for that. So I like going back to communication.
Yes. We're back now. That was our commercial break.
But this is
one of those.
This is what happens at happy hour. You go off on little tangents here and there.
Not much different from how we really communicate when we're not being recorded.
There you go. So how do you tether the guest connections with the staffmanship? Is there a connection when you go in and you do their survey, then on the debrief for the companies that bring you in, is there a staffmanship part on that?
Well, I don't think that I necessarily have made the word be, this is the staffmanship model. Mm-hmm. I guess I feel it's an overall theme of the way I think. So I don't even know if I really teach it that way to them. Mm-hmm. But when I look at an issue, I look at, is this leadership? Meaning, did I need you to do something different as the leader? Or did I need the staff to do something different to have made this result pan out differently? So,
right.
So let me give you another brief example. One of the places that I secret shopped on that very first year, I always use them as an example. So local dry cleaners. And I walked in to secret shop them, and they had a plastic acrylic sign sitting on the counter that said that they did bridal gown cleaning and preservation for $99. And when I walked in, I saw that sign right away, and I thought, okay, that'll be my lie. And the key to being a good secret shopper, because you are lying, is to get as close to the truth as you can.
Because you are lying.
Because you are lying. And so you're part actor, part liar, part strategic businesswoman.
Yes. So
I walk in, I see the sign, I'm like, boom, that's going to be my lie, because my wedding dress at the time was rolled up in a ball in a hefty garbage bag in the basement. And I'd been thinking for a long time, I should probably get that thing pressed and preserved, but do I really care? That's the truth. So I see the sign, and this gentleman approaches me with a little name badge that says assistant manager. So he's high up there. I mean, he's up on the ladder at the dry cleaners.
Right.
And so I point to the acrylic sign, and I say, actually, I'm stopping in because of this. I'm interested in having my bridal gown preserved. Right now it's rolled up in a ball in a hefty bag in the basement, so I'd like to learn more. I am not embellishing. I know I'm capable of embellishing, but I'm not. This is really what happened. He leaned over, grabbed the acrylic sign, didn't say one syllable, picked it up, and went like this and set it on the counter in front of me. And what the translation is read this. That's the translation. So I read it, and I went, ooh, $99. I didn't know it was that high. Assistant manager, third from the top, 3 beats from the power of the cleaners.
From the throne, just
3 beats,
from the
3
throne.
heartbeats away. He says to me, well, you can get it done in Geneva for $69. Geneva, a town that's 20 miles from where we are. You can get it in Geneva for $69. And I said, good to know, thanks. So when it was time for his owner of the dry cleaners, who is now sitting in my program, who did have a look on her face like, I don't need any customer service training, opens her envelope, she finds out she's got a staffmanship issue, she thinks.
Yeah.
And I wonder, is it because he didn't have the training that he needed to know how to talk to me, how to have a conversation, to decide, that I needed to have my dress done there? Did he have any positive positioning statements like, oh, you got to go get that dress right now out of the basement. We can't have a pretty dress rolled up in a bag. I mean, it goes on and on, the things that we could do. But in this case, I think it was more his, if you want to use the word fault, I don't really like that, but more his responsibility to close this deal than the lady who owns the place, who probably wasn't even on the premises when I was there. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. And because what I hear you saying is with the, he might not have the tools or understand the importance of, that customer, interaction on, and I like the positive, having some kind of statement for him to, say that, have you want to bring it in?
Yes.
So they can make that sale. And it can make no incentive for him at all. He might not impact his job at all. Whether, you dry clean there, or you dry clean and, down the street. He might not get anything for that. So, thinking of those different motivators for people that would probably be a staffmanship.
And I guess with assistant manager on his name tag, I would expect his behavior to be as if his name is on the side of the building, and every $100 sale that comes in the cleaners does mean something.
Yeah.
They all add up.
They do for the owner, but they might not for him. Like I said, that motivator might not have been there for him, where it might, he's just three beats away from the throne. That's it. It's hilarious. I'm sorry. I keep thinking of,
it's true though.
Yep, that's true. So what are some of the when you go out and because the communication piece is big. I think the finding the right motivator for people is big. What are some other key things that you share with leaders and staff people as far as providing the best encounter for people when they come in?
Mm-hmm. My big soapbox that I get on is right words, right time. I think that words, the ones you choose, how you use them, when you use them, are so much more powerful and important than we give credit to. So we spent a lot of time in the place where I was raised for 17 years in healthcare. We were known for our customer service. That's how I became a professional speaker. We were so good at what we did. It was like we were the Disney World of eye surgery, right? Mm-hmm. People would be excited to come in, if you can believe that. Not necessarily to have the surgery, but to be around us. And so other industries started calling and saying, hey, can you come and teach my bank how to do such and such? Can you teach this? Mm-hmm. And I had no idea we could be in a profession where people paid to hear how to roll out the red carpet of service. Mm-hmm. And a big part of our training there was we were specifically taught right words to use, not to sound robotic, but to give the impression that we wanted to give.
Well, what are some of those right words?
Okay.
You've spurred my interest. I'm curious.
That's good. Well, first of all, if you'd like to send me $99, I can give you I'm kidding. See, that's what we do. We pique your interest and then we charge you. See how we do that? For just a mere click, I can send you 39 words that can change your life.
39 and a half.
39. It's always 39. Here's my favorite one. I'll give to you for free. I want people to take the word no, N-O, out of their vocabulary with customers and just simply replace the word actually. So now you can't put the word actually just in front of the sentence and say, actually, no, that order isn't here. Mm-hmm. You got to take the word no out completely. So here's a perfect example. Your customer calls in and says, has that part for my refrigerator arrived yet? We really need to get this fixed. And the person at the appliance store says, nope, hasn't come in yet. Okay, that doesn't feel good.
Right.
So instead, we switch the sentence to, actually, it looks like that's going to be on tomorrow's shipment. Same sentence. It ain't here today. We're not fixing your fridge today. It's the same result, but you have a totally different feeling by simply switching out the word no to the word actually.
I like that.
I know. I tell the women in my audiences, this also works fantastic in your personal life. Your man wants to go upstairs and do some hugging. You say, actually, Grey's Anatomy's on. You like that better than the nose you've been getting?
Actually, I think I won't let my wife watch this.
That's right. See, I got all kinds of tips.
I'm going to use that because that's great.
It is.
You know, even in your own personal life. I'm not going to say no anymore. I'm just going to use actually. I like
You
that.
will be amazed how often it works. It's hard. I will say to the audience, somebody give me an example of when you frequently say no. And as long as you speak in a language that's easy enough for me to understand, I don't even care what your business is. Give me a no statement and I'll show you how to turn this around. And you see light bulbs go off in their eyes when they take the simplest sentence and turn it around to make their customer feel like they're serving them better, when really the answer is still the same. Your refrigerator part isn't here.
Right. Well, and you could even take that to internal customer service, you know, the interaction between, you know, follower and boss.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you don't really want to do, or, you know, you could use that whole actually thing in that would be, certainly would disarm a potentially confrontational situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
You want to tell your boss no, and you'd be like, actually, maybe tomorrow I'm going to, you know, do something.
No, I would say, actually, I'm still finishing the report you wanted today at 5. Is that what you want me to keep doing? See, they just keep going. You want another free one? You want my second favorite one, or are we almost out of time already?
No, we're good.
We're good? All right, here's my second favorite one. In the sales process, the next step is the golden phrase. The next step is. Why? Because people don't know what to do in a process unless they're one of us. If they're on the inside, they know what the process is. But an outsider doesn't know. Now, if they're a frequent flyer with you, they probably know what the process is. Right. But I'm talking about a brand new customer doesn't know. So, for example, in our business, most of the time people call us up. They start out by asking, well, first question is usually, how much do you charge? And I have a whole different script for that. Let's get past the money thing. Now, it's, what do you speak on? How would it work? We have this whole dialogue. We're ending the call. A lot of speakers, what they will just say is, okay, well, let me know after the committee decides, or when can I check back with you? We might ask a question for the next touch, but we never tell the caller what they need to do. Every salesperson, no matter what they're selling, should have a next step is. This is what it sounds like. So, Chip, have I answered all the questions you have today about this booking you're considering?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'll tell you what. The next step is for me to send you a 3-tiered proposal of how you can best work with me. And after you decide which one's best for you, I'd love for you to give me a call back. And in the meantime, we'll put a no obligation pencil hold on the date you're interested in. How's that sound to you?
Sounds
something
fantastic.
like that. Sounds fantastic. But I told you the next step is, and what's one step more powerful is the next step is your move. The next step is for you to take this back to committee, make sure it fits in the budget you have in mind, and let's get started with this. I don't care what the rest of the words are after the next step is, but the more that it falls into your next move, you making the next move, the more likely we are to convert this sale or for me to get you to do what you're supposed to do if you're an employee of mine.
Also applicable to your personal life. So you'd be like, so the next step is for you to meet me upstairs.
That's right. See, it works.
Naked and unafraid.
That's right. It works. So the next step is. Those are your 2 freebies, my 2 favorite off the top.
I like those.
Yes.
I'm going to use those, but I will completely credit you the entire time.
Oh, yeah, that'll really help when you take her upstairs. Use another woman's name upstairs. It'll just work wonders.
But you'd have to meet my wife. She really would not care at all.
We'll put that on the to-do
Woman
list.
has never met a stranger, ever. As soon as we get on a plane, and not a jealous bone in her body. So as soon as we get on a plane, she's best friends with the flight attendants, and they're bringing her free drinks.
That is awesome.
I call it.
You definitely married up. Way to go.
Of being Gwen. And she goes, well, I don't ask for it. I'm like, you don't have to ask for it. People just do stuff for you. I don't understand. It doesn't happen to the rest of us. It only happens to you.
Nice.
We were driving down to Central Illinois to see our parents, and we stopped in Dwight. And she starts talking to the person behind the counter, and she goes to pay for her soda. And the lady's like, oh, that's okay, honey. You don't have to pay. You can just have it. At a Love's truck stop where they charge you for everything, right? And so, I mean, and we walked out. She's like, don't even say it. I didn't ask for it. I'm like, you don't have to. It just, people do things for you. That's just the way it is. It's just crazy.
That's how she got you. She just pulled you right into that trap. There you go.
My brother calls her a cult. Yeah.
We should be doing an interview with her. That would be interesting. I'd like to hear that podcast.
That would be funny. No. Anyway.
Actually, see, you already haven't learned. Change that sentence up. No, it's not.
Actually, busy forever.
There you go. You're learning.
I have really enjoyed spending a little time with you today. If people want to find you after today, where do they go?
Actually, the best place to find me is solutionsarebrewing.com. Believe it or not, that's the easiest place to find me. Guest encounters, you won't even find my name. Why? Because it's all incognito because of the secret shopping. So if they really do want to call me, email me, check out what I do as a speaker, go to www.solutionsarebrewing.com, and the R is spelled out A-R-E.
Now, if we were at a real bar and we were really, well, I would probably be hammered by now.
Right.
But, I would probably challenge you to do something kind of crazy because it's the sailor in me. But since we're not, I'm just going to ask you a couple random questions from my
we could have done the whole thing
Would You Rather book.
Okay. That's fantastic. I thought you were going to ask me to do a party trick, and I was ready to go.
That would be fun. But no, we'll keep this fairly clean. All right, Laurie Guest.
Yes.
Would you rather be able to delete memories in your mind as if files on a computer, or be able to network to other people's brains like on a computer so you could share knowledge?
Oh, totally the second. I would rather network and infiltrate your brain.
You don't want to be in here, sister. You do not want to be in here. It's just, it's not easy being in there. It's just not. Because there are a lot of things. Well, maybe it would be cool because other people would think things are funny that I think are funny then. Because I'm always like I'll laugh about something and my wife will be like, that's not funny. I'm like, you just aren't in here enough. All right, Laurie Guest, are you still there? I think I must have lost her. All right, well, friends, I think that my connection has dropped Laurie, which is sad, but she told you where she could find you. I appreciate you turning into Leadership Happy Hour. You can find me, Chip Lutz, the Unconventional Leader, at unconventionalleader.com. Check us out next week. We'll be checking in with you later. Thanks.